It's Tuesday, February 4th, 2025, and we have just pulled up into Arica, Chile, the farthest northern border town of Chile between Chile and Peru. And we have an all-day shore excursion to the Atacama Desert. But I was a little surprised at how big this place is. It's pretty big. We're going from left to right. There's Arica. It's 7:45 on Tuesday, February 4th, 2025, and we're headed for the Atacama Desert. We're in a little port city called Arica. Arica was a town that was taken over by Chile in a war with Peru in the 1880 time frame called the War of the Pacific, and that was a war that was fought over, oddly enough, the guano of the Ballestas Islands and surrounding. Anyway, big long 7.5 hour tour today to the Atacama Desert, and we're looking forward to seeing how that unfolds. We made our first stop, and it's a really interesting desert sculptural presentation. It's 8:45, and even though this is desert and it's dry, it's cool, not desert the way we think with hot weather. Now, as the group is kind of emerged a little bit ahead of me, we'll migrate up here as quickly as possible to catch up with the explanation. But here is the landscape. It's extraordinarily arid, flat, featureless, but then here are these sculptures in the middle of it all, and we'll get up there and get the explanation in a moment. Just give you a kind of a panorama. I cannot emphasize enough how interesting it is with the weather. The guide told us in her lifetime, she's in her early 40s, she's never experienced a day of rain, not once in her life, 40 years here. It never rains. They get a little bit of water rolling down from a river off the Bolivian highlands. It is absolutely arid. It is the most arid place on Earth, other than some Antarctic deserts around the Ross Ice Shelf area of Antarctica. So it's drier than the Sahara, drier than every other desert. It is absolutely arid. Very interesting.
This is a representation of the universe, and those two here, as I told you, men and women. Okay? I told you that the Andean cosmovision says we live by this law of the cha-cha-warmi. The cha-cha is going with the lady, with the warming, together in life, but never close enough to choke us. I don't know how to say it. We need a space to breathe and to be. So duality, the good and the bad, up and down, man and lady, always together. Okay? So here we have two figures. One is the representation of the chachas, the men, and the other one is from ladies, warmies. Which one do you think is the chacha, the men? Correct. Why?
That's the lady with the
Oh, he
with the what?
very good.
childbearing.
Perfect. This is a representation of the cha-cha and warming. The cha-cha have a phallic position.
Yeah.
It's a long position with power, like this. Okay? And they never decide, so they have two thoughts.
Two thoughts.
Okay?
מחשבות.
And the ladies, we are lunatic. So we have a half moon on the top. Why do you think we are lunatic? Why we are this route, La Ruta 5, goes from Arica until the end of the country. So we have received a lot of buses and cars, and he had to do something to break the I don't know how to say it.
Monotony.
Yes, and people maybe with a long drive decided, okay, let's stop and go to see what is there, and they start thinking what it means. And here, because it was almost to get in Arica. This area was the bottom of the ocean 300,000 years ago. Okay, and all this area was under the sea. That's why you see a lot of white stones, light stones. Coral. It's fossilized coral. Okay, so when I was coming from Chile, I just took one to show you, but it's everywhere. You see it, it's very white and light. It's coral. So that show us. Yeah. Huh? All covered in water. And just show us the climate change too, the changes of the earth. 350,000 years ago, all the volcanoes in the world decided to wake up, to say it in some way. And the volcano.
All right, the name of this installation is Presentaciones Tutelares. That's the name of the sculptural presentation. Pretty phenomenal. Now we got here early because we were one of the first buses, and the other buses have arrived, and now suddenly it's a little bit busy, and the guides are kind of bumming, rushing each other out in and out of place. So it turns out that it's a little bit of a busy stop here. So we're heading. And the road over here, it turns out, is Highway 5, same as the 5 freeway in Santa Ana, where we live. It's part of the Pan American Highway. And it turns out that the 5 Pan American Highway is, according to one of our trivia courses, the trivia games on the ship, the longest highway in the world. It goes from Alaska to the tip of South America. So one more time, Presentaciones Tutelares, on their way to the Atacama Desert, high northern Chile. All right, here's the sign commemorating the installation. I'm going to try to get out of the sun here. Presencias Tutelares. These stone cairns are called apachetas, and they're little prayer towers of stone put here by people traveling through the area to the Mother Earth. And in front, look down. I don't want to get too close to the edge of this. There's no rail, but this is down there. Little stone cairns. Thousands of them. Still nice and cool. It's 10:15 and it's still cool. I'd say it's in the high 60s, not quite 70 degrees yet. The guide is counseling us about getting close to the edge. It is really precipitous.
But it's just for the landscape.
Look at all these rocks and the stones.
Little stone cairns called apachetas.
What is it?
Apachetas. There are thousands of these. It's fascinating.
Careful not to break the stones.
We made a brief stop here, just a couple of miles beyond the last stop where the Apachetas were, to take a look at a couple of native cactus. There are very few left of these, and these cactus grow 1 millimeter a year, so they can be 6,000 years old. The closest thing I could think of comparing this to would be a Joshua tree, similar in the United States, Southern California. Now the spines of these cactus are harvested for fish hooks, and they found them in Arica, so they know that the people from Arica came all the way up here to get these spines, which are 15 centimeters long, to use as fish hooks. So these are ancient. And there are quite a few down in this little swale across here. We're in a small town in a little valley. This is the oasis of the desert that this tour is all about. It's called Cupa. And interestingly, on the way in here, the bus next to us cut a corner and took out a rear window on an overhanging building. So it wasn't our bus, but it was one of the adjoining buses. Now here's the town. 150 people live here. This was a pilgrimage rest stop, akin to, during the Crusades, there had these string of inns where people could stay, where pilgrims could stay. That's what this is. This was a path from the Bolivian silver mines during the Spanish occupation, 1532. For about 300 years, there was a lot of silver that came out of Bolivia, and they needed to get it to the coast so that they could get it transported to Europe. And this was the way. So we just had a little bathroom break, and it's apparent that adobe is the building material here. Now these over here are wood. And it looks like they've got termites. As far as there's definitely wood termite infestation here, or some kind of insect. But and there's some hollow blocks over here on the left-hand side. But these older buildings over here are adobe, original issue here from way back. Take a look at that. It's adobe walls with mud mortar, and then a sort of a, I don't know, some reed pole stringers with reed thatch, and then mud covering. So this is really old timeline stuff. These are old issue adobe bricks, similar to what was used by the Spaniards to build the early California missions. It's beautiful. It's temperate. It's arid and dry, but and the sun is shining brightly, but it is beautiful. It's about 73 degrees, perfect weather. We're entering the venue for the restaurant. dining luncheon prearranged.
You have the welcome drink if you want some. Is it wine? It's wine. It's pizza.
Lunch in Kudpa.
I have some also. Right, didn't we? I forgot to bring it back.
And because they have a fast-running fresh river down in this valley, they have
Yeah,
fresh vegetables.
yeah.
All right, now we're in the middle of the luncheon here at Kudpa, and it's a nice little meal.
It's our lunch. We eat like corned beef.
All right, we just finished our locally hosted lunch. It was excellent. Put together by the residents of this little town, Kudpa. And now what we're going to do is run down to this town square and take a look at some of the local produce and see where that leads. It's a beautiful day. I'd estimate that it's 75 degrees, maybe a little above 73. Here we go. We're heading for the town square, which is down, I guess this is Main Street, and we'll pick it up on the other end. Very civilized public bathrooms, and this is a community center, sort of a covered arcade where the local vendors have set up shop. Let's go take a look over here. We're deciding if there's something that we need.
For the Antarctica.
You don't have gloves?
I do. But this
Okay.
is
So you need matching gloves. Okay. All right.
hold on. Let me see this.
See what else there is.
What is that?
We're deciding if there's something that we just have to have.
Yeah,
Like something,
Right, yeah.
some unfulfilled, unmet need.
unneeded thing, and you must have maybe a spot that's
The church was built in 1668, and they've got some earthquake reinforcements on the inside and the outside. And what I wanted to show you were these little piles of coca leaves. These are actually coca leaves, the same one that they used to produce cocaine. And they were part of a ceremony that was executed by the local shaman before we entered